think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
I watched the verdict be read live.
You fuck off.
I couldn't stop myself because I looked at my phone and it was the verdict is in. They're going to be on at 3 p.m. and I was like, shit, I could watch that.
You're like, well, hey man, you know what? If convenience dictates this is my time to watch the fucking Johnny Depp verdict of all things, then I'll take the opportunity.
And it was weird. It was like it didn't even sound like English or like proper human interaction when the verdict was being read, because it's just like, in the count of, then they read like the article name, like I survived abuse, blah, blah, blah. Do you, is it the case that this happened? Yes or no? Yes. Is this the case? Yes. And they just they went like that for it felt like 10 minutes, just constantly asking like yes or no questions.
That's odd.
Yeah, it was very strange. But I guess that's how law works. And the courtroom looked so fucking boring. It looked like people's court. Looked like a fucking people's court. I expected like pilasters and stuff.
No, I think Judge Judy's courtroom was nicer.
I think so. Yeah. So it was a fucking kangaroo court. I mean, obviously,
why was it televised? Nothing is televised except for Judge Judy.
They didn't. Yeah, exactly. I think you kind of answered the question there, right? Like that's because this is a fucking show trial. It's but I keep using the word kangaroo court, show trial. I'm not implying that this is like staged or any shit like that for larger political purposes, but it
may have been
fiasco. Yeah. For all intents and purposes it was, because like it's a Rorschach test for like how people feel about women in society.
Well, it's also like sort of a thing where there's a monstrous war escalation happening right now on all fucking fronts. There's fucking monkeypox. We haven't gotten rid of COVID, and people's elections are going fucking sideways. The goddamn U.S. is like Swiss cheese. That shit's get shot up left and right. It's a fucking nightmare world, and people would rather do this.
That's fair.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. No, super appropriate, because like when I watched the verdict, and then I went back to the top story New York Times. It was just like something about nuclear conflict. Nuclear conflict's much different now, and blah blah blah. And it was just like, this is so emblematic.
Yeah, you're like, I have no interest in nuclear conflict right now. I can't deal with that. Let's go see a fucking meme. Did you get I sent you a good one on Facebook. They've been doing these fake guest appearances from Jason Momoa with crude impersonations of him.
Oh, I didn't see that on your face. I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
He's like, I'm just standing with the I'm not standing with Johnny Depp, but I'm not standing with the turd. Just doing these crude impressions, just making fucking fun of him for being a stupid donkey, but then also like mishmashing it with real court footage. It's very clever.
Was he in the court?
He was, yeah. That one's now a meme that has like 25,000 different voiceovers of like different jokes about her shitting and stuff. It's fantastic. It's really great work by the internet.
Really, God, the amount of money that they made afterwards, like she basically came out $10 million poorer, I think.
Her reported net worth this year was like $8 million. she owes fucking Johnny Depp about 12.
And her career is fucking done. Like Johnny's uprising now.
Johnny's gonna be just fine. I give Johnny 6 months before we bag some kind of an awkward movie, and he just sort of gracefully double standard moonwalks himself back into Hollywood.
I feel that he's already, like, he made movies throughout this whole fiasco. I feel, because it's only 6 months of his life. Like I swear to God, I've seen movies that he starred in. They've just been kind of like direct to video with like other stars and stuff, like just people who will still work with him because I guess they know him and feel they can trust him, like for whatever that's worth.
And all you had to do was just fucking stay quiet. If you just shut up and avoided him, you probably were going to be okay on the other side of this. But I mean, like, I don't know who the fuck was counting him out. That wasn't going to happen.
I guess there was always a chance that it would be revealed.
Yeah, there was always a chance.
He shit in the bed. Maybe he shit in the bed.
No, I don't know. I think there was there was fucking eyewitnesses and shit to the shit.
Oh Jesus, eyewitnesses.
Yeah.
How does that even work? I know.
Well, there was just people that discovered the poop. And then it was established that the fucking dogs were too small. I don't know.
Okay.
It was human shit. Yeah.
That's
enough. Okay, we're coming off. You're coming off the topic here. So then, so that what was that legal tactic I sent you? This afternoon?
Shit! It was a deflect. It was Dovas or deflect, attack, Davos.
Yeah, and then victim blame, and then divert. The whole fucking thing, right? So you basically just flip the script and push that as a hard defense. And apparently this works exceptionally well on juries, this tactic. And that's just that's I don't know, that's just like a side story about the whole thing. Yeah. And then also I feel like the evidence was reviewed a lot better. But maybe that's just because it was televised. The one in the UK, apparently, the judge just took a look at some fucking crude printouts of photographs and just was like, "Yeah, you beat her up, piece of shit, guilty."
There you go.
but this time there was a big thing where they were actually looking at the encoding on the pictures, and they had all been scrubbed through a Photoshop program. They had like a tech guy go through the file formats.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, this has been put through a photo editor. You can see it's not saved as like a native photo on a phone, even though it's made to look that way.
Right. Wow.
And then they went through, and then they're like, then in this one here, they adjusted lighting, claimed it was taken a different day, tweaked makeup a bit, and then photoshopped again. And I was like, fuck. Right. It was every photo though. And how about this photo? Yep, you can see here, and they'd circle it, and I was like, oh man, this is pretty damning.
Yeah. Because it was unanimous, unanimous decision. So that's fine. The trial of our century, second trial of our century, has finally concluded. And the rest is then it's gonna, appeals and civil. This is gonna become back page bullshit.
I don't think Amber's got any cash to appeal this baby.
Yeah.
It could be the end. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Some of them work on, I'm thinking about, some lawyers will just work for the publicity, right?
You might get some like greasy guy try and pick it up and get like slapped down before it ever appears before a court by Johnny's power lawyers.
God, he looks like shit. FYI, by the way.
You cannot, I repeat, continue to do cocaine and hard alcohol into retirement without swelling up like a fucking balloon and just being a grotesque waste of life.
You think there's a lot of cocaine going on there? I believe that he's swelling up like a disgusting balloon for lots of reasons, but
oh man, if you're not doing cocaine, what are you bothering for? What are you just going on pure alcoholism? That's despicable.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what drives. Again, I'd like to / never will read a biography of him, but if I bet maybe there's a story there. It is nicer to think that he's more like Raoul Duke, though, right? He's more.
Yeah. Well, I prefer to. Well, I mean, we already have Hunter Thompson, and Johnny is not as interesting as him.
No, and actually, I think we talked about this, but me and Adam, we were fucking really high, and we put on Fear and Loathing, and Johnny Depp was the least good part of that movie. It was the Benicio del Toro show, like all the way, and Johnny just seemed kind of like he didn't fit. It was really weird. It was a really weird effect. Everything else was working extremely well, and he just kind of seemed like he wasn't doing a good job. And I know that sounds weird considering how much we like that movie and how much we like him, but yeah, he was kind of the worst part of that movie. It really changed.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, and I think the story of Hunter Thompson's and the idea of the things he did and where he was going was more interesting than any portrayal of him to date. Even I find Bill Murray's portrayal a bit weak too. But
where the buffalo roam? Yeah, that one's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's okay. I think he did fairly well, really.
Yeah,
but,
he's got. Whoever can do the imitation, you're golden, right? Like we're on board. Like even if it's like a rough imitation, fine. And he more or less had it, but and it wasn't a Terry Gilliam production, so it wasn't like even listening to the narration. Like when they wake up in the hotel room and it's all like covered in water and it's like he's wearing that lizard tail and shit like that. Like none of that. That looks amazing and it's funny in juxtaposition with the narration, but the narration's just like very plain. Like when you just listen to what they're saying, like these fries covered with ketchup, and you're just like, well, half-eaten burgers. You're like, this is not the same description of what we're being shown right now.
Yeah, that's true. And I think the whole because there's so much footage of Hunter, from his own like insane fucking video documentaries of his own self and fucking crashing cars and just buzzing around like a fucking maniac, plus all the audio of him. Like I have real Hunter Thompson all over the fucking place if I want to see him. So once you've seen the real deal, it feels like lipstick to watch people imitate him. But
yeah. So yeah, but that's Johnny Depp, right? From the guy who brought you Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and what was it? The Lone Ranger? What did he play? Tonto? Was that?
Yes. As a matter of fact. And did you see the Amber Heard's psychologist expert? Excuse me.
Oh wait, like who was like no, I haven't seen any of it. So you can just,
you got to watch a bit. Anyway, yeah, you got to watch a bit of him. He had like some like kind of a facial tic and he was just acting like a fucking bizarre maniac and his hair was all out of place.
Oh Jesus.
And he like shit the bed and was like massacred by Johnny's lawyer. And they actually asked him about Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and he just sort of like had a spasm while he was thinking about it. And Johnny started like laughing while viewing him in the monitor. It's a tire fire. It's a
right. Yeah, I'm sure there's. Yeah, there's.
There's going to be just hours of gold. Really, there should be a movie up by now.
Oh, I'm certainly. Yeah, there will. Actually, that's a good idea. Maybe even starring Johnny himself. In 5 years' time.
Yeah. Set the record straight. We'll call it.
I Tonya.
It's a fucking weird reference.
So so I don't know, speaking of tire fires, every once in a while, James, you and we like to talk about our I think I once asked you like, well, who's your favorite Spider-Man villain? And I forget what your answer was. I think you said it was Venom. But I don't know if we've ever had the conversation, aside from the Joker, who's your favorite Batman villain?
Yeah. I mean, the Joker's cheap. I wouldn't have said the Joker anyway.
Yeah,
the Joker's kind of his own character. But
that's true.
it's not Killer Croc, but we're gonna talk about that. But like, I don't know. They're all so bad. Maybe Ra's al Ghul. I think Ra's al Ghul.
Oh yeah,
I think that's a very, very tedious bad guy, very difficult to deal with, like sort of a Lex Luthor that can fight. That's awful.
Yeah, yeah, with a different sort of motivation. Like he's like this. He's kind of your Thanos character. He's kind of your pseudo environmentalist. The
world cleanser. Liam Neeson.
Yeah. I didn't have him in mind when I was thinking about it. I meant like his Gotham centric rogues gallery, but Ra's al Ghul's fine. He fits the bill, right?
Yeah. The rogues gallery, then maybe Mr. Freeze.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe we
Soft
have
spot.
talked about this. Yeah. Yeah, and it's tough. I think I'm a Scarecrow guy if I have to go.
Oh, good choice. Oddball choice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just a guy that shows you your own fears. God, that's awful. It's just not. It's not like, will you be afraid of this guy? You will be, and like he's just gonna scare the shit out of you. And like I think he's super underutilized, even in the movies. Like it's so hard.
Being drugged sucks too. Like being drugged is very invasive. It handshakes with rape. It's an awful thing. So that can be a very scary character if you do it like the Nolan way, sort of,
Yeah. Because you're right. Yeah, it's invasive, but it's also like you have no choice. He's kind of a villain that forces you to like explore yourself, come to terms with yourself, and if you're unable to, like, you're driven to madness and possibly suicide. There's you can't use him very frequently. I don't think. I think that's kind of the problem with him, is that if he becomes like a regular villain of the week, then who gives a shit, right? But same thing with Joker. Same thing with any of them. But there's there's a thing there.
But yeah, I was gonna say you could fire off, a 5-star trade paperback if you got the right oomph.
Yeah.
In your story, and then you can really squeak out a cool story with that character.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Two-Face is fairly cool too. Anyway.
Yeah, a lot of them are really cool in concept, and then like generally speaking, just like fall flat on their face on the page. Kind of like Killer Croc. No one's favorite. Nobody. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think any listeners today.
Well, honestly, like throw us an email down the hallway.
Yeah.
If Killer Croc's your fave, and hit us with the richest Killer Croc story ever, and I'll review the fuck out of that.
I feel that we're actually. I think we're talking. I think tonight we're talking about the rich. So, we'll do Reptilian first, because why not? So we got 2 Killer Croc stories today. It's Killer Croc Fest. We're gonna get to the bottom of. So we talked about Reptilian a little bit already. We had 2 issues out way back when, but the whole thing's been revealed. It's finally out. And then I was listening to Comic Books Are Burning in Hell, and one of the hosts mentioned the Doug Mensch story that we're going to talk about with Kelly Jones, and it just got me thinking that, yeah, man, we got to go. Like, it's good. It reminded me of this story, so I was like, we'll go back to that. We'll just do some Croc. We'll do a Croc Fest.
For the record, I thoroughly enjoy the way Croc is used in these stories. I don't see a lot of other ways to use him other than sort of as a comedic victim. Yeah,
well, some sort of victim. There has to be that sort of element to him. Like he's a little like, maybe the Penguin also has that sort of like, I'm a deformed human being element to him, but the Penguin's super smart and crafty. Like he's kind of a master planner, as he's generally depicted as a Batman villain. So like he's got
right.
Whereas Croc's just like a stupid asshole who like he was a carnival freak for a while. I didn't look up his story like when he first appeared in comics. I know that I think he's like post 76 or something like that, though, because I have a Batman encyclopedia downstairs that has entries for all the villains and stuff. There's no entry for Killer Croc, and that thing's from the mid 70s. So he's a later creation than I thought he was going to be.
Oh yeah, I didn't actually realize that either.
Yeah.
For a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd think he'd be around already. He just feels like he's a classic Batman villain, and I guess, yeah, I mean, every once in a while they get created and included. Bane's a classic Batman villain now. It's been 20 years, right? Fuck.
Jesus, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought every issue of Reptilian, for the record. If you want to get real pervy about it,
Oh, I'm glad you did. I only ever had digital issues, and it wasn't very pleasing for me as a digital product.
Oh man, you know what? I honestly think maybe having the books would have changed the experience a little bit for you then.
I probably would have. Like the art, I just find the art's murky. I don't think it's really appropriate for what's written. I do, in a lot of instances, think to myself, like, Stephen Dillon would have made this a lot funnier.
Oh, this would have been fucking hilarious with Steve Dillon. But with Liam Sharp, too, I think without the book, there's kind of a richness to it in hand. It's larger and more, it's like a painting. Because I did read number 4 digitally, and then randomly was able to find 4, 5, and 6 at a comic store after that. So I've sort of sampled both, and I just find his paintings are actually like, and his Gotham City is very rich, and his paintings are very dark and rich, and then the books have like sort of this nice sheen and like they've blacked out the paper, and it got a nice aesthetic. It's very different in hand.
Is it? So I noticed it was a Black Label comic. Does that mean it's magazine format size?
No. Yeah, it is standard comic size format, but no ads or anything either.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, it's a trade. Oh, wait, no, you're right, because it's not a trade paperback. It's on the individual issues. That's nice. That's a good feature.
Yeah, a little selling thing there for it, and for Liam Sharp, because I know he's not suited for this story. It's fucking insane, but but definitely, if you just didn't read it and flip through his art, it's gorgeous, like in the books. But
it is, yeah, it's in interview he was talking about, like, what he was kind of going for, and he's obviously going for that Dave McKean Arkham Asylum look. And he's definitely achieving that. Like, this is so, but we've talked about it a lot. Like, it's just overwrought. Like, it's inappropriate for such a sparse comedic story, and that Ennis is selling here. But like the mixture of the two, it doesn't harm it. It doesn't harm it at all. It still works great. It's just kind of it's a very interesting mix.
I'd go with that, and then it's just, and then I don't know, like, did you care for the use of Batman in this way? But I know you had to expect that Garth would fucking go his own, right?
Oh, you mean like this version of Batman?
Yeah, like the way he was used is he was very he's fucking, it's funny because there's no action really, but he's just massively overpowered, which is great. Excuse me, especially for a comedy story. And he's just he's using him as a pure detective, but just as a smug asshole, sort of just like toying around with in the science of what's happening to Killer Croc.
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. Yeah, I did find it a little frustrating early on, because I was hoping because part of me, there's always the part of me that, like, when an A-lister takes over a comic or whatever, I hope they're going to give us their A-lister version of Joker or whatever, right? But it's and the art makes me think, and this is another situation where if it was Steve Dillon, I would have been prepared visually for the carnivalistic romp that I was going to get. But since it's so dark and so so evocative, I felt that I was going to get something. But in the end, it's just like Joker's a fucking idiot. All the villains are boobs, and Batman's just he's so effective and so absolutely cruel. This is just the cruelest that Batman's ever been, and maybe ever will be. And and yeah, it's perfect because it's not outside of the character. It's perfectly in keeping with Batman, and his interactions with Alfred are exactly the sort of interactions that, like I'm thinking of Batman's Grave, where Bruce's interactions with Alfred, you could see they were trying to be kind of clever, and it wasn't so bad. But like, this is it, like this is actually what Ellis was attempting to do, is to have like a proper back and forth between two intelligent assholes, and with Batman kind of like on back heel, but still being the boss. It's good. I mean, I don't want to praise it too highly, because at the end of the day, it's just a gag strip, like a cruel gag strip. But it's really, it's good stuff.
I just vividly remember my own fucking reaction, because I started off and I was like, oh, I actually, I don't know that I super cared for the beginning part of it, like the first two issues. And when I can't remember if it's issue 3 or issue 4 where he kind of pins down this situation. It's issue 4. As soon as book 4 happens, and he realizes like what's happening to Croc, and cuts the gestational sac off of him, and starts toying with the idea that he's a hermaphrodite, starts questioning him on lactating, asking him if he's a female. Because he gave birth to this horrible monster. These are a lot of spoilers. Not that it's not like if you're gonna listen to this, obviously you're gonna know we spoil everything, because we go right balls deep into every book. But
absolutely,
yeah. But just fucking so gross and weird, and Batman's just such a fuck. And he's not in any danger at any point in time from even the most dangerous of villains, really.
Well, even when the final like Killer Croc's baby shows up, and it's all like horrible out of like a Ridley Scott production, he puts on his little breathalyzer thing, and then he jumps right into its belly.
It's hilarious too that the monster kind of looks like Alien Resurrection ish.
Yeah. That's so maybe not Ridley Scott, maybe Alien. Yeah. But I was still thinking that's what I had in mind. And there's so many, like you get a lot of, I sent you some of the images that were standing out to me, but like by issue 4, I think I agree with you. By issue 4, like suddenly like everything clicks, and it was kind of like wasting time up until then, and now the joke is really in. Now finally it's funny, like really funny. When Batman,
your baby boy and shit.
Yeah. And like Croc just looks like a cartoonish idiot all the time, and he's just like, his eyes are bulging because he's just shocked at his baby and stuff like that. And
fucking sick. It's just sick and cruel. It's just like sick and cruel, and the fact that Batman's like toying with it. Do you know the back of all these books each one has a quote from Batman in a small black and white photo, and it just says, "Look at it this way, Waylon. You've had a damn good run. This is the price you'll pay for all the fun and games." That's one of them. One of the quotes is "heh heh heh." One is, "It's possible you might actually be a female." Anyway, just like they know what they were doing here. Like Garth knows what he's doing. Like he was trying to. He's a fucker.
And it's kind of like, it's the comedy of it especially is just watching Killer Croc just like freaking out about everything that's happening. I can't have come from that. Oh God.
Batman, like, don't look at me.
Yeah, he's just shocked by everything that's going on, and he doesn't understand, and he doesn't want any part of it. Go on then, suckle it.
Fucking Batman.
I don't like that, and that's the man. Holy shit, it's so childish, but he gets. I don't know how Ennis does it. I don't know how he can be such a toilet humor writer, and like just its timing. It's just perfect. Like that's such a. It's a full page spread, and it's just like Croc looking back, terrified, and
he also, like, his Batman is firmed up. Like, that's Batman. He's a big, scary motherfucker detective, and he manages to retain all of Batman's integrity and still somehow tell this story. Very weird, very skilled.
Interesting. I think it wants to impregnate you. The whole time. Yeah, it's just that straight. He's the perfect straight man. Like his face doesn't like. That's it. He's just and watching.
This is almost a bit Judge Dredd-ish, but also.
Well, yeah, actually, when you say that, there's so we got Dave McKean, and then I'm also thinking I see a lot of Simon Bisley in all of this, and that kind of tracks too. Like Liam Sharp is British, if I so's Dave McKean, if I'm right about that. Like there's a British tradition of this sort of painterly approach to comics, and I think some of that's in heavy metal. I think some of that's in 2000 AD, and so yeah, like it's. And then obviously Garth comes from that too. So I think they're just channeling a lot of that shit. I mean, Garth's been doing that his whole career.
This weird. There's one cover of issue number 5 where the big fucking creature's like holding like sort of a semi-nude, like terrified looking Killer Croc. It looks like a Norman Rockwell. It's so fucking absurd.
Oh, I think I know the. Did they take it from inside? Like he's. Oh, yeah, inside covers. That's funny.
Yeah, did you see the cover?
Yeah. I didn't realize that was one of the covers. I thought that was in the comic. That's funny.
No, yeah, they and so some of the cover. There's a few other covers, and the other two artists are a bit more squared up on that. But that particular that's Liam Sharp's, I think, and he.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had his own vision here. I'll tell you that much. That's the at minimum.
Yeah.
I did like the use of the cell phone.
I know what you're talking about.
Dialogue as well too. That was pretty cool.
Between him and that Russian guy. A lot of jokes. A lot of Batman texting someone throughout this, which you really wouldn't expect.
No.
Don't be ridiculous. I'm trying to protect you. You're important, Volkov. He tricks him into the Batmobile. Okay, I lied. I'm using you as bait. What?
And then he like fucking in number 6 he births himself from the fucking creature after that spot you mentioned where he dove into its mouth.
Yeah.
So you get to witness like a full. It's like a 3 fucking page Batman birth out of a dead fucking croc animal.
And before that, oh god, yeah, so many pages, yeah, so many panels, just like
just struggling. Even
before that, it's weird. It's I think it's like is he like texting while he's inside the thing, like that's such a weird conceit, like, confirm 9RD. So, he's sending the self-destruct coordinates while he's like struggling inside the body of this thing, and it's like texted all incorrectly. It's a funny way to show struggle, and it merges two of the sort of, because it's also strange to see Batman texting, and to merge those two things and to make it part of the story, and not just and something that actually can be used to build tension and tell jokes through and stuff like that. Garth Ennis, everybody, master of the device. It's so good.
Yeah, he is. I mean, like, yeah, just I don't know. Maybe we do too much Garth praise around here, but if you read comic books, he can do no wrong. It's.
He can fuck around. He can absolutely. Like, I don't know if you read Dastardly and Muttley, he can phone it in just as much as any other writer. But yeah, I don't think you can praise, like, when he's firing and he's doing a good job. I don't think you can praise him enough.
And I'd like to think he does a good job about 70% of the time, and that's better than most.
Yeah, considering the output, 80 or 90% of the time, like maybe when he's fucking around on Dog Welder, I bet that's not very good. Mind you, I haven't read Dog Welder, so I can't judge, but
I haven't dipped back down into A Man Called Kev either, but
I'm so nervous about, not nervous about those books, but like I think about it because I know they're on your shelf, and I'm like, I don't know, do we want to do that?
Yeah. I just want to remember them fondly and just not remember?
I feel there's going to be a lot of, because I just often see like on the cover image, it's like Kev like on Midnighter's leg or whatever, and I just feel there's going to be a lot of gay jokes. Like, could be wrong.
Like
could be wrong about
a bunch of shit that you can't get away with anymore because it's not the 90s.
Yeah. Perhaps. Although I don't know, Ennis is a shitty. I'm sure he's got a lot of shitty habits and a lot of shitty like sub themes or whatever the fuck you want to call it, habits. He's not a fucking bigot. I'll like I'm never worried about that. I'm never worried. I'm not worried he's going to be. He's not going to make the totally wrong choice. He just might make some like questionable choices where like for the sake of comedy he might do something a little. Maybe you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah. He's not on the canceled list. He's smarter than that.
He's also not popular enough, I don't think. He's got that sweet spot. That sweet spot where you can do whatever.
I think he arguably he's responsible for one of the 5 greatest comic events of all time, right? What are your 5 greatest? This is a heavy question for a Reptilian review. What are your 5 greatest comic book moments of all time?
What are we talking about? Like we're talking about mainstream comics or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say I'll do a blanket one, just like
I'm not gonna
a verbal diarrhea off the top of my head. I'm gonna say a Dark Knight, Watchmen, The Preacher. There's your Garth and Sandman, and maybe The Invisibles. That's 5. There's other ones I'm sure you can argue can float in. I can think of a few right now, but
yeah, I think that's it. I think like Preacher's good, but I mean I put it down in the like bottom 10 of
that list. Yeah, like you got a few you could slink one in right now. Let's hear it. Let's hear one to knock Preacher out right now.
Preacher. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so we got your Dark Knight Returns, obviously. We got your Watchmen. We got your Sin City. 2 Franks are going to be in there. We're going to have to have.
Okay.
Well, I think we got 3 Franks in there. We're going to have Elektra Assassin with Bill Sienkiewicz. That's got to be in there. I don't care for that book, but it's a thing. I don't know. Moz. Does Moz count? Moz is going to have to be way up there. Did I?
So you've already knocked him out then, way out.
Yeah, I just don't think it didn't.
By adding Frank Miller 3 times. Bet you never thought you'd do that.
Yeah, it's true. No, Frank's incredibly important. Like I can't fuck around with that. I can't fuck with Frank the Tank. He did the stuff that's important. And yeah, how the fuck did we end up talking about that?
It's just Garth talk,
It's just Garth talk, yeah. I guess we were talking about how he's super good. So yeah, he's great. He does do the stuff. Oh yeah, we were talking about the cancellation. Yeah. I don't think here though, like we're talking about extremely low circulation rates. Like Preacher's known to us because we're subcultural junkies. And we're like we're proper nerds. People don't know who this guy is. Like 50,000 issues sold of this at most. Like that's so under the radar. And as long as
it's true. That's why I was able to get the back 3 issues, is because I went in there just to buy. I bought them after they had already come out and ended up buying them at cover price late. After they'd already been released, because they were all just sitting in the comic store available, because I was probably the only pervert in town that was like, yeah, give me some of that hermaphrodite Croc story. Yeah.
Give me that joke. Yeah, and actually when you say it out loud like that, you're like, like that's good. That's the sort of transgressive territory that other comedians maybe wouldn't touch. They would be concerned about that. The way Garth pulls it off, like there's no like weird political subtext to this. It's not like, it's just like
no, that's not.
Yeah, it's just present. It's all comedy. Yeah, it's just like here's a sci-fi circumstance with a with a clownish character who's facing some sort of body horror, and just like watch him go through it.
Yeah. And since it's an alien creature kind of from the sewers, you can really well, this shows you can go as far as you like with that scale of body horror if you want.
Yeah. And then put him in prison. No problem, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna dissect you. The show's over. No.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Fucking beautiful Batman story.
Also, it's Black Label. I think there's just like everybody's decided, like, ever since Preacher, Garth, you can't cancel Garth. Like, after Preacher, after The Boys, like that's it. You know, like he's not a shithead. Like, he's not molesting people in real life. He's not verbally assaulting anyone, to my knowledge. He's not saying anything highly questionable in real life.
No. And anything that he jokes about, he backpedals on and takes the moral high ground. He's got a brilliant way about him.
Yeah, because he's a brilliant writer who's, honestly, his talents are wasted, his skills are wasted. This is funny, but what the fuck are you doing, Garth? Like, I would love to read a novel.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'm you know what I mean? Like, I'm ready to go back to some fucking Garth Punisher right now.
True.
I want the discography.
Well, it's all on there on Hoopla. We can go back to Welcome Home, Frank. Get back to we've been threatening it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing is, our people who listen to this, hello everybody, they really like listening to us talk about Garth. The numbers are in, so we might as well give them what they want, right?
Yeah, I'm ready for some more Cross. I'm ready for some Constantine. I need Dylan too if I'm doing Garth.
Yeah, no, that's fair. We'll we can do that any old time. That's not a problem.
That's not going anywhere.
What we can't do any old time is I guess we
fast train to the wet Garth.
Talk about we are not going to laugh about this story. I'm sure we're going to find a way to laugh about it.
I am. I find this fucking hilarious also. The Croc is so fucking ridiculous and ineffective.
Yeah. All the time. He's just like okay, what are we talking about here? It's like Batman pardon me a moment, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
we're talking about Batman issues 521 to 522. Doug Mensch, Kelly Jones, Beatty. What's Beatty's name? John Beatty. We also got colorist Gregory Wright. We know Gregory Wright from. I know anyone listen to my Punisher bits. You're going to know about Gregory Wright. Wright, and then
he's a fine colorist.
He also did that Morbius comic, that good one that we read. And then Todd Klein, letterer. So this is actually kind of an A team.
This by the way, this Doug Mensch reprint Batman book is gorgeous. I don't know how I got this. I got this from a random guy.
On you got yourself a eBay score, if I recall.
Yeah, maybe, or it might have been a Facebook Marketplace guy.
Someone who didn't know what they had.
No, he probably got it from the dollar store for $4, took the sticker off, and then turned it around to me for 15 or whatever.
That's the market. Yeah. So this is another Killer Croc story, and it's another one where it's a writer of some skill, let's say, trying to like, how do I deal with Killer Croc? Like, what do I do with him? And what's interesting kind of is that it always comes back to the swamp. I don't know if the character originally had anything whatsoever to do with the swamp, but they always try to like bring it back to reptilians and crocodiles, which makes sense. But they always try to like kind of devolve the character in some sense, like make him more reptilian rather than just like a gag strip, not a gag, like kind of getting back to the penguin thing where he just kind of looks like a penguin, but no one says that like penguin needs to go back to the Antarctica because he's actually a penguin.
Yeah, this is more of like well, I think that's the only, I mean, it's one of the only tools you have to make the Croc scary is like, I got the Killer Croc. I'll devolve him down to his lizard brain and make him more dangerous. Whatever is this is a sort of a taboo way of handling that guy, or it's just like a classic sort of way of treating the character. But then we got a lot of great sound effects. By the way, these guys are sound effect hardcores.
Yeah. Well, that comes down to Todd. Well, Doug Mensch does sound effects, and we should probably write him a letter and congratulate him on his sound effects. But Todd Klein really sells it. He's the guy actually bringing the lettering to life in that instance.
Schloob.
Yeah. Schlock. Yeah, it's so blurb blop blop. Yeah, now that you're mentioning it, it's just like it's all over the place. It's a very very old school. He's from the 70s, right? So that's the way comics.
Well, yeah, and Croc too. I find is actually like I find the treatment of the dialogue feels a bit 70s-ish too. That's very goofy Batman and Robin.
What's stupid? Like Batman and Robin. Let's talk about them first before we talk about. We'll just contrast. What we just experienced as far as Batman goes. First of all, they like fuck up the wash. Shloosha. And they're just like this dynamic duo. They can't even wash their underwear, and you're like, this is stupid. This is
yeah. Then Batman's for some reason acting like a cock to Alfred, but then rehires him in some weird sort of like it was like an angry man versus man standoff, which is hilarious with a slight edge to Bruce Wayne, which is I guess not unlike what we want, but also unlike what we want.
Yeah. This is just after the entire Nightfall saga, if I remember correctly, and somewhere along those lines, Alfred walked out on Bruce because he was like, Bruce, you're going to die. Like what you're doing is stupid. Your back is broken, and I can't watch you do this anymore, and I'm gonna go. And so this is their reconciliation, if I remember correctly. And it takes place over 2 pages, and it has 0 emotional heft, and everybody just looks like a child coming out of it. Like Alfred created his own want ad so he could answer the want ads and present it to Bruce Wayne, so Bruce Wayne could be like, yes, I'm the master and I hired you. And there's actually a perversity at the center of it. They talk about it as if it has anything to do with dignity or pride, but it has everything to do with like some sort of like patrician dominance over the underclass. It's horrible. Weird. Yeah. Come on home, old chap. Now that I know where now that I know that you're not one of us, come on in.
And they establish all that in 2 pages too.
Yeah. It's all friendly. He's so old too, and he's just like this old man. His Alfred is so fucking old, very decrepit. I don't imagine he could do anything.
No, he looks like a proper like cartoon butler, like a Looney Tunes cartoon butler.
Yeah. Everybody looks like stupid idiots though. Like this is much more cartoony than I remembered it being. In a lot of instances, and you're just like, yeah, it's like it is a cartoon, but it's not played like a cartoon. It's played like somehow everything's still sort of serious, but it's drawn, yeah. Even the Batmobile,
it's drawn like an Archie comic.
Yeah, exactly. Like the aesthetics very 1930s. They make a point of having a steam train. They're like, even though like it's the last steam train, and then the Batmobiles, the original. I don't even know if this is the original, but like this is
fucking bad. This is Adam West's Batmobile almost.
Yeah.
Funny that you mentioned that too. That was one of the big things I noticed too.
What about the old Batmobile?
Yeah, and then a train heist.
Mm-hmm. And then it just goes like, and it's this. There's no tension to this train heist. It's like, so Croc's got it. No one's stopping him. He's driving so fast, and then Bruce's narration is just like, we've been driving for hours. And then
he's chasing the train for hours like a titty.
Yeah, and then the next panel, he's like, I can't believe more time has passed, and it's only 200 miles left. Here's my chance.
Yeah.
And it's like this, what's meant to be, it's illustrated as if this is a high tension moment. The dialogue does everything possible to just suck all the tension out of it. It's really inexpert and kind of embarrassing.
But then I think once you clamber over to issue 2, that's when things start to get a little funnier for me.
Before we get to that, I just want to talk about when Batman jumps onto the train. Oh my goodness, that looks so amazing. Just like the way Kelly Jones draws him, like so, he turns into this creature of shadow. And the cape, that we've talked about this before, just the way he draws the cape, so unbelievably large, so completely unrealistically big.
Oh yeah, this has got to be Todd. This has got to be Todd McFarlane's boy here.
Oh yeah. But whereas Todd just does it for the sake of illustrating drapery, like look at the image. Batman's like hanging off the side of the train, and the cape looks like a monstrous wing, like with a musculature to itself. You know, like
yeah, I'm looking at that panel actually. Also,
yeah, it's so fucking cool.
And he just swipes in and just punches Croc straight in the face. Another wildly overpowered Batman just crashes the train, fucking not concerned about minor dazed and bruised crash victims, just bounces out of the train.
I can't imagine that there's only minor bruises, and like they were going as fast as possible and they flipped the track, right? You know, that's got to be like a 80-mile-per-hour crash.
Oh yeah, Batman didn't give a shit. He's on a mission.
Yeah, he's good with the swamp. And I don't, like, I'm not saying that I want Batman to have to stop and like reset a leg or something before he goes off to like save Killer Croc, but maybe Robin would have been good in this story. Like, it's also stupid that he doesn't bring Robin with him because he's like, I don't know what kind of choices I'll have to make. You have this fucking problem every time, constantly. Like, you made this peace with yourself a long time ago. Get rid of Robin as a concept, or fucking don't. But don't make the kid fucking sit around.
Well, I think that's like maybe like, because I don't know. I know they got the books running, whatever, side by side, and you've got the Bat universe and stuff like that. But if I'm doing my Kelly Jones thing, I think I'm a fan of the character without all of that. So I give it like a 2-page toilet bowl treatment, move on, and dress my Batman after that.
Oh, honestly, that's fair. Like, if we look at it from that standpoint, I think maybe you might be right. Maybe Doug and Kelly Jones were just like, you know what, I kind of don't want to draw him because I make him look stupid. Let's be fair, and he can just stay home, and we'll pretend that it's part of the story. Yeah, all right, I'll buy that.
That's my best guess, anyway.
Yeah.
Not even that. It's just that maybe they don't even care for it, but they got to toe the line.
Yeah, totally. So they do, and Doug's entire run. Like, I remember when we talked about Contagion, like he had one issue as part of the tie-in, and he managed to, generally speaking, avoid the entire fiasco. And if I remember correctly, like his run with Kelly Jones, they did I might totally be wrong about this, but I feel that it's really its own entity. They managed to keep it separate from all the other stuff, just because Doug's an OG and Kelly's like they're just their collaboration was kind of a big deal, and I think Denny O'Neil kind of recognized that, even though these issues look really good. But I remember buying them. I remember buying this issue. And the others and the ones before this and stuff like that, and they're kind of boring. They look amazing.
Oh, as individual issues, you mean?
Yeah. Like as like this came out when I was 12 or 13 or something like that. Like, this was not a fun comic when I was 12 or 13. Like, I was reading them, they were like, this is a 1970s comic. This is something that you can kind of like, in your late 20s, kind of like, oh, I see the artistry here. I see what's going on, but like,
I see what you mean. Yeah. And I mean, and I think probably one of the only draws to it too for kids at that age would have been just the way the Batman's portrayed was super unique. and really cool aesthetically.
Yeah, and I do remember these issues specifically. You know, these comic, like, I love Kelly Jones's When They're Getting the Swamp. The way he draws the trees, the way he draws Croc, the way their confrontation, everything, very memorable.
Swimming, the way they draw Croc swimming in the swamp, I love that too. And I also like the use of Batman perched up on a fucking building, lowering down a fucking boom mic so you can hear what the cops are saying. I actually super duper like that, because you know, if you think about it, like, how fucking moronic is it, even in the new Batman movie, to have this fucking absolute vigilante freak who legitimately is a danger to the entire city, and is like I mean, like, we love Batman, but I mean, like, from a Gotham police standpoint, you're talking about a sociopath, fucking madman. You're not gonna share. Police are not gonna share information with this person or allow you onto crime scenes. You're gonna have to do that all in secret. Right? It's a tiny detail, but I like it.
Well, yeah, but like, it's also absurd because you're right. He's holding a fucking boom mic, you know, and it's got all these little gadgets.
Insane, it looks hilariously stupid. Like you said, like we said, it's like a cartoon. It's like a fucking Daffy Duck was listening to a police conversation. It's classy. So, and then Croc fucking beats up on that crocodile and steals his nest and stuff like that. Another, getting back to the cartoonishness, this version of Batman, his chin is just out of control, and he's so dour. Like, he's just like, he's really like sour frowning. Yeah, just like it matches in no way, nor does it need to, but it matches in no way with the Bruce Wayne that we saw earlier. No, you're right. It's like a proper alter ego.
Yeah, he transforms completely. You know, like, just like into like sour face, sharp nose, but it looks great. You know, like, this is perfect. You know, and somehow, like, when he grabs that snake, the way he frames it,
snatches that bastard just like Van Damme.
Yeah, throws it in the water and stuff. You know, just like great. Like, that's such a simple bit of action, and then he just frames it very nicely, and you don't really need the narration. You could just watch him do this. It makes perfect sense.
I like how Batman doesn't pull any punches when he fights Croc either. He knows he's kind of in trouble here. So he fucking just hauls off, cracks him in the head with that stick.
It's him with the, like, well, he tries to tie him up first. You know, he does do the, like, action at a distance. Flashbang, wraps him up, thinks he's good, and then you're right. But after that, then it gets back to, like, Adam West style Batman action. You know, brat, wonk. Nice boot to the face, though. Classy. His Batman has unbelievably large ears.
Those are like, and they change too. They're not always long like that.
Yeah. I'm looking at him when he boots Croc right in the face, though. Like, he's got this devilish smile when he's doing it. He's really enjoying fucking booting him in the face in this instance. Chunk. And then then tables are turned. So, Swamp Thing. We never talked about that.
I was a bit stoned when I read this second issue with Swamp Thing, and I was captivated.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the yellow speech bubbles, and I really, like, honed in on everything he was saying. I was kind of glazing a little bit. And then when Swamp Thing came along, I really, really tuned in. Really thought he was cool. I like that. I like that Swamp Thing's like a forest spirit, like a swamp monster proper. But I mean, like, I feel like he's sort of like an elemental entity. I mean, and I know that's already been been broached or whatever, but he's on a different power level than Batman, and I like that that's shown.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that this is kind of like a recapitulation of an Alan Moore issue, like a storyline where Swamp Thing's girlfriend is in a Gotham prison, and the police are coming to Batman, and they're just like, look, we got to keep this girl in prison because the law, blah blah blah. And then Swamp Thing's like, I'm gonna destroy your fucking city, and he just like overruns the entire city with forestry. And it's a really cool moment, and he just makes Batman look like a stupid bitch, and completely dominates the entire scenario. And like Batman tries this like bat defoliant and shit like that, does not work. And I like that this is in keeping with that. Batman's really literally out of his element. And his actions here, actually, they make no fucking sense. He's just like, he's a killer. We have to do something. Like when Swamp Thing shows up, Batman, just understand that like you just got to chill. It's okay. This is being taken care of. There's a higher power at work here, and you don't have to worry about justice or any shit like that. You can just
I don't know why he's so fucking hyper focused on like bringing Croc to the law, like. Like what the fuck, man? Like a monstrous elemental spirit, like the fucking spirit of the forest here, man. The forest god has spoken.
Yeah.
He has reset the Croc's mind. He's accepted him under his own swamp and sort of pushed him into his own like life cycle, and supervision under the swamp, under his own watchful eye. It's like it's all good, man.
Yeah.
I don't know why he wanted to buck against that so hard. And it's like, whatever.
I think it's supposed to it's kind of meant to. Doug's halfway being clever here. Batman's all about. He's not about like what would they call it? I forget the particular type of justice. His justice is all about like punishment. Like he's a moment away from the Punisher in the sense that actually no, he's a lot far from the he represents the law, and the law is counter civil or not counter civil, like counter barbarism. Let's say, let's say that like the swamp and predators and stuff like that. That whole sort of category of beings is one of the things that the law ideologically attempts to like push out of the world so that we can establish something called society. And Batman defends all that shit, like all that society stuff, or civilization. Let's use it. Yeah.
Well, I guess in another way too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in another way too. I guess he has to basically if you committed murders or crimes, you don't get to go live in peace. Like your ass is going into a fucking cell.
Yeah.
It's like you say, it's not punishment. It's justice. It's like you need to serve. Like you need to pay. Like
yeah. Like it's not like you're gonna die. Like you need to pay. Like, and that's the distinction between Punisher and Batman. And but both of them want to, like there's no room for either of them for Croc to rehabilitate really, and to just exist in nature, to sort of find peace and go free in some sense. That's unacceptable, because they did damage once, that's it, and there's no second chances. So. Yeah, whereas what we would expect from Swamp Thing, who's like a hippie, fucking liberal lefty, using hallucinogens. Yeah, he's just like
he's using those fucking decriminalized drugs to calm the mind and rehabilitate without prison.
Yep,
son of a bitch.
Yep. I like how he deals with Batman too. Like it's and this made me think of. I kind of want to read because the next two issues after this are Scarecrow, and I bet they suck, but I bet they look amazing. Just watching him hallucinate to drug Batman. Natural hallucinations, creating 1,000 twisted faces in hate and fear. My own face, one of them grotesquely distorted. Actually, even the description's not bad. Yeah. And then
No,
it ends
it's
on
very cool.
yeah. Then it ends on a joke. Like now I'm here. I don't know how to get my car out of a tree.
Yeah. Oh, I like that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though it was stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple little jokes there where he's like,
Mhm.
where he's looking at his like fucking slimy arm, slips my arm. He slips from my arm and shambles gracefully into the green realm. Wet sound sealing the hole through his heart.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The narration's absurd.
Yeah. But it's not bad. Like it actually works.
Cool. It does.
Yeah,
It's very Batman. You can read it in your Batman voice and really enjoy yourself.
Yeah, yeah. And it's good. Like Doug sucks in a lot of ways, but like he's not a bad writer. He can evoke. He knows how to use like figure and that kind of thing, and it's helpful. But yeah, these are not high art. He's this is really only working as well as it works because of Kelly Jones, who's like easily the star of all of this. Like I don't think we've talked a lot about him, but I will say that I hate the way he draws the human body. We talked about that. We talked about this before, but I even in the opening of this issue it's the opening of the first one when Croc's screaming for food, like it's the first issue and his arms are up. What I noticed is like his lats are uneven, and I really liked that. I know that's a funny thing to notice, but there's no symmetry to the organic creature in Kelly Jones. Like he's not interested. He's not an artist who's interested in symmetry. Everything has its own like physical structure, but it's never going to be. Well, I'll just repeat it. It's not gonna have symmetry. It'll just be like uneven on either side, or he's always aiming for incorrectness, even as he's trying to be correct. Does that make any sense?
Yes, yeah. I see what you mean, in that sense too. And what I never really understood, I think, is like I like Kelly Jones, and I never really I think this is the first book I've ever owned of his work. I really didn't realize the power of his consistency throughout the Batman franchise. Like I didn't realize he had this heavy a hand in the pot, and he came to go serialized issues. Like this guy was good to go, and he has a high quality, like whether you like it or not. It's very stylized, obviously, but
yeah. This is and rightly so. It got that collected. Like he's up there with those guys that get those collections, and they get reprinted, and like a lot of people. The thing about Batman is it draws such a, I'm not the first person to say this, of course, but like it just draws such a high level of talent to it. Everybody who shows up, generally speaking, brings their A game to Batman, even if they're shitting the bed. And it'll get collected at some point because it's Batman. But you can't imagine, like, no one's ever going to bring this kind of game to the Flash. Unless it's like Ethan Van Sciver or some fucking pervert like that.
Oh man, what's funny too is like I know you mean, like this is the show. This is the you're fucking drawing Superman or you're drawing Batman. You made it. Like whatever you got, put it on the table.
Yeah.
Don't leave shit unturned. Like I don't know. Yeah. I feel like for me personally, doing any DC book would be the fucking holy grail. But yeah, you definitely. It's sad that no one has treated the Flash that way. But.
Yeah. And I think some people might disagree, and maybe if I thought no, but I think they'd all be completely, totally wrong. Like there's never. Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, yeah, I think you're right, James. Like, if you end up like at a major publisher like that, like, why doesn't there no run on like Teen Titans where well, I go, oh shit, I was going to say George Perez, or may he rest in peace, but maybe I'll pick a different example of someone, like no one's got a Blue Beetle run where they fucking pulled it out and blew us all away, right? That's not DC's MO. Whereas like in Marvel, yeah, like in this era, 80s, 90s, people can have, because that's where the Frank Miller made it, like was basically Daredevil was shitting the bed, and so they were like, all right, no one's paying attention, and you got some chops, go, do what you can do. And and then we ended up with Frank Miller, right? Bill Sienkiewicz was working on, actually, Doug Mensch. He was with Doug Mensch on Moon Knight. Boom, Bill Sienkiewicz.
Right.
You can go over and over. Yeah, but you don't have that story from DC. It's not the culture over there.
It's true.
Yeah. Some assholes thinking in their head right now like some sort of counter example, but I don't want to hear it.
I don't think you can. That's gonna be super difficult to sell.
I'm gonna have a lot of trouble with that.
I was just checking out. There's a Contagion book in here too. One of them anyway.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. So this is that makes sense. That's when they're in the city. That's probably, we already covered that.
Yeah.
Doug
didn't do much though. He just did the one, and I think that was one of the ones where he was sort of doing his own thing too. Like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he didn't change the aesthetic at all. Yeah. So yeah, all right. What Killer Croc, guilty or innocent?
Killer Croc's innocent in these stories because he was used to perfection times 2.
There we go. Yeah, he is innocent though. I think he's innocent of being a criminal. He's definitely like he breaks the law, fine, but yeah, he's one of the characters that allows us to maybe potentially empathize with the criminal, the underclass. One thing about these stories, sorry, but just maybe to close off, is just like, if it is the case, the Killer Croc is one of those moments where we get to confront the manner in which Batman brutalizes the underclass, and Killer Croc is sort of representative of that underclass. What's interesting to me about these stories is the way that the writers try to hide that or get rid of it, put it in a box at the end, so that Batman can continue to carry on in that fashion, whether Garth Ennis realizes it or not. And he kind of, Garth does not care. He's so cruel, and but Doug is much more of an apologist, but maybe in a different way. It's funny. It's two different ideologies at work, but they just want to get Croc off the board because you don't want Batman to deal with that, because otherwise it's not fun.
And I think that too. Croc's just like you say too. He's like a great victim. I empathize, man. He got a raw deal here both times.
Yeah.
So you get to feel for him, even though it's like sort of a dumb mutant monster character you're not supposed to. Congrats to two skilled guys for making me, feel it.
Yeah. All right. So this is the episode that no one wanted, and I'm really curious about how everyone's going to take this. But,
you didn't ask for it, and here it is.
Now, all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.